Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a basic clarifying shampoo with SLES. Now this is an ingredient not to be worried about. There's lots of bad press online and it's totally ridiculous. So I'm going to explain to you why we're using it and how it can benefit you in your formulations. Okay, so we'll start off with our water phase. We're making a 200-gram batch and this doesn't need to be heated or anything, it's really easy to make. So we're adding our distilled water to a beaker, and then to the distilled water I'm adding sodium phytate. Now sodium phytate is a chelating agent and it's used here to preserve the foam in the product, as I live in a hard water area. It also boosts preservative efficacy. And without being too sciencey, what a chelating agent does is sequester the metal ions in the water and the product, so it helps to improve rinse off and to cleanse the hair in areas where you've got hard, very mineral rich water. You may see other chelating agents listed in products such as Melt and Pour soap and Melt and Pour shampoo. You may see tetrasodium EDTA. This is another chelating agent, but it's a bit harder for us to get hold of as DIYers. So sodium phytate is a good option for you in that respect. There are some exceptions to the rule where you would not add a chelating agent, but I might do a separate post all about chelating agents to go through that. For this formula, it's perfectly fine to use and will be beneficial. To dissolve it, we just put it in the water phase and stir it round until it is completely dissolved, and then we can put this aside and work on our surfactant phase. See my Patreon for the full blog post working out the ASM for this product. The first surfactant I'm going to add is the SLES. Now SLES is an anionic surfactant that has extremely good cleansing abilities. It gives an exceptional clean while producing a big stable lather. This makes it an incredible addition to clarifying shampoo that needs to cleanse the hair and scalp, removing build-up from previous products and to prepare the hair for new products such as services like colouring or perming. It's also a surfactant that can be thickened with salt, which makes it great to work with and very cost effective in your formulations. Now, many people avoid it due to the continuous bad press that it gets from content creators online with little science background, perpetuating rumours with little evidence. These kinds of surfactants, such as SLES and SLS, are often classed as harsh and drying, and yes, they would be if you used them alone. But as any formulator should know, it's the usage rate, not the usage, that makes an ingredient bad. We counter any harsh drying effect with the use of a secondary surfactant and a refatting agent. These add their own properties to the shampoo to aid the cleansing and feel of the product in the hair. Don't avoid ingredients because of online rumours. Instead, do your own research on them and try them for yourself. They will all have safe usage rates and recommended usage rates and things that can go with them. So you'll see here I added some other surfactants. So the other surfactant I added was to counteract that drying effect and make this nice and gentle, and that was cocamidal propylbutane, which is an amphoteric surfactant to increase viscosity, foam, and to help the formula more gentle. After that I added AOS 40. This is another anionic surfactant, very good for cleansing and foam. And that again works with the other surfactants to give lovely bubbles and foam and cleanse the scalp. Then what you see me adding now is glycerol oleate. Now this is the refatting agent, and this counters the drying effect from some of the surfactants, and it moisturises the hair and scalp, and it significantly improves the feel of the shampoo both in your hand and in your hair, and helps with running your fingers through the hair and just a general better experience when you use the shampoo. So that's why we're adding this here. When we finish adding these, we'll mix these together and you'll see it thickens incredibly fast. So here you can see it getting really thick as I mix it in, as the cocamidal propyl betaine works with the other surfactants and the glycerol oleate to create a surfactant blend that will be the basis of our cleansing for our shampoo. Once you're satisfied that that's mixed thoroughly enough, you can add your water. I suggest tipping your beaker so that it runs down the side and doesn't create loads of foam instantly when it hits your surfactants, and then mix that up. It will seem like it's not going to mix, but trust me, just keep at it and it will combine perfectly well. And you'll see here I've got quite a thin liquid. The water with the sodium phytate has thinned it out quite a lot. Don't worry at this point. We're going to add our phase C ingredients, which is our preservative. I'm using Salagard PCG, and I'm also going to add a fragrance. I've got this mango fragrance that I had out already, so I'm going to use that. And we're just going to add those in and stir them really well to combine, and then we can move on to the pH and the thickening phase. As far as shampoo making goes, this one's quite well behaved in terms of foaming while you stir, but if you do get a few bubbles on the top, you can just spritz it with isopropyl alcohol and it'll get rid of those. As you can see, it's still quite thin at the moment, but this is one of the benefits of using SLES and sodium-based surfactants. What you can do is thicken them with salt. So the first thing we need to do is fill a little container with salt and weigh it, including the container weight, and then note that weight down, because what we're going to do is add a little bit of salt, a tiny bit at a time, until we reach the viscosity that we're happy with, and then after that we'll know exactly how much we've used because we can deduct it from the beaker. I hope that makes sense. Or you can just tear your scale and weigh it as you put it in. It's completely up to you. We're just literally, you can see I'm doing a tiny bit at a time, because the trouble with salt is if you overdo it, it can reverse it and it can thin it out. So you'll notice the viscosity, you'll feel it as you stir. It's more of a feel thing than a visual thing at this point. And I can feel this thickening up. I'm going to go one more time and see what we get, and I can feel the resistance with the spoon a little bit here. I don't want this shampoo to be too thick anyway. We're not going for some really thick, luxurious conditioning shampoo with this. We just want it to be nice and clarifying with lots of spreadability over the hair, so I think this is about right. Now I'm going to adjust the pH. You can adjust the pH prior to adding the salt, just so that you've added everything you're going to add before you start thickening it, but I did it afterwards. I had to reduce this down with a little bit of citric acid, and I got it to, I think it was a 5.48, which is fine, that's within range. You want between a 4.5 and a 5.5 for the hair. And then we're just going to fill our container. Now I only did a 200-gram batch, and this is a 300-gram bottle, which is why it doesn't fill it completely, but I don't like wasting ingredients for test batches, so always do a smaller batch when you're testing a formula out. But I'm quite pleased with how this turned out. The viscosity isn't too thin, it's not too thick, and now I think we need to do a bit of a lather test. This is where the trusty hair extension hair comes in, and we're just going to do a little foam test in a bowl, and then I'll go and wash it out in the bathroom. So you can see it's reasonably thin at the moment, but not too thin, and it spreads on the hair really easily, and you're instantly getting some beautiful foam. I can feel it cleansing the hair. It doesn't feel all rough or drying or anything. The hair feels very soft, it's rinsing out nicely, the hair still feels silky, there's no drag. So I'm very pleased with this, and I can feel that the hair is clean and I'm not leaving any build-up or anything. And even when it's just rinsed out and sort of rough dried on a towel, it feels very silky still. So I'm very pleased with this shampoo. As far as clarifying shampoo goes, this is a lovely basic recipe for you to try and get used to thickening things with salt. I urge you to give SLES a try. It is a very good surfactant. There really is nothing to be worried about. And yeah, if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments below. If you'd like the full recipe and method with the active surfactant matter calculations, you can find that on my Patreon, which is linked below. Thank you to everyone that watches all my videos here on YouTube. Thank you to all of my patrons, especially my VIP and mentoring patrons, which are shown here. I really appreciate all of you, and I will see you in the next video.